For the night scene in the Assurance, we needed something to motivate the warm lighting that comes from this side of the scene. So we decided to use torches. Now before the Assurance, I'd never made torches. I didn't know anything about them at all. So I did some research and put together a little recipe of how to make them after doing some homework. Now before you actually make a torch, please watch the next tutorial about safety and remember that fire can kill you and destroy everything you love. So please be careful and do this at your own risk. Basically, there are 3 components of a torch: a piece of wood, a fuel, and something to soak up the fuel, usually some type of fabric. For the sticks, we actually got permission from our location to take all the wood we needed from this really huge pile. That was amazing, because it's actually a lot harder to find the perfect torch stick than you might think. For the fuel, we tried a few different things and had success with both lamp oil and tiki torch fuel. For the fabric, you really need to be careful. While we had success with most fabrics, we ended up using burlap simply because we had so much extra left over from the set dressing in the wardrobe. However, burlap and many synthetic blends of cotton have a tendency to break up while on fire, sending chunks of fire hurling towards the ground. This is a real problem if you're actually holding the torch, especially over somebody's head. So to minimize this, we first of all didn't let anyone hold a torch over somebody's head. Secondly, we built them very carefully. We started out with the torchy stick, and if you live in a dry climate, you might also want to wet the stick so it doesn't catch fire. Then we took strips of our fabric and we wrapped it tightly around the top of the stick. Then, and here's the trick here, we used a staple gun to secure the fabric to the stick. Now, we probably used too many staples, but if it's loose, it increases the chances that the fabric will break off when it's on fire, and that will rain chunks of flaming misery all over you, and you don't want that. We then soaked the fabric part of our torches in a bucket of tiki torch fuel and let them soak for about 10 minutes to pick up all that flammable goodness. When pulling them out of the bucket, be sure they don't drip fuel. That could create a flammable trail back to the bucket of fuel, and that would not be good. You also want to make sure that you have a bucket of water handy for extinguishing the torch before you light it on fire. We also made sure to do a lot of testing beforehand, so we didn't show up to set and have any surprises. I first built one of these in my backyard by myself because I knew if I could do something like this, then anybody could do it. Before it was time to shoot, Stephen Heller and Alexis Green got to work as the torch makers and also conducted tests of how long the torches would burn for. To our surprise, torches don't last very long, only about 10, maybe 15 minutes. I did some research online and it turns out that this is actually pretty standard, even on productions with more resources that actually know what they're doing. So be aware of that short time limit before you light your torches. While we were filming scenes with torches, Stephen and Alexis were on deck with the next torch, ready to light it and stick it in the shot so we didn't have any torch-related delays. Using torches was a lot of work, but the end result was just so gorgeous. Next up, we got to talk about how to keep yourself safe while you're using these portable flaming fiery sticks.